Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. More iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. Tonight, the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel C Championship taking on Road America. This one is going to be wild. If the Indy Pro, or the Open Wheel D class race is any indication, you'll get to see that one here in just a couple of minutes. But first, we got to get through the race and qualifications for U.S. Open Wheel C. Oh my goodness. We have got some names in this one. Some, well, returning stars like this guy, David Porcelli, making his way out onto the racetrack for qualifications. He's been good. There's no doubt about it. He is fantastic. However, this guy, Teddy Burns, is having a perfect season to this point in the race. 2 weeks, 7 starts, 7 wins, 128 laps completed, 128 laps led. Insane what Ted Burns is doing to this series. And oh, by the way, a superstar in the making. He is not out on the track just yet. Sebastian Weldon is in this race. Son of the late two-time Indianapolis 500 champion Dan Weldon is entered in this Indy Pro 2000 race. Seb, a budding star in his own right in the world of karting, and starting, I think this season maybe might see him in some of the very junior level formula, but absolutely spectacular. We've got Sebastian Weldon on the entry list here tonight. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I haven't even done the introductions yet. Man, we're jacked up for this one. James Watson and the Bizzler joining me in the booth tonight, and man, I'll tell you what, James, the last race was good, but this one could be crazy.
I think it's probably going to be a little even more crazier, because with how much faster these cars are, I'm hoping that we get as much of a draft train as we saw, but I don't know. Oh, usually we see something a little crazy in the opening laps to kind of separate the field. And the guys up in this series, they're so cerebral. They know when to back off and when to kind of ride around and wait for their time to strike. So we might not get a lot of the close racing and chaos we saw earlier, but I've been known to be wrong many times.
Yes. We're looking forward to this one, man. I'll tell you what, Patrick. The last race was it was crazy how tightly the draft was packed up. As just Kazura checking in, let's go. Ready to see some good racing. Thank you much for hanging out with us tonight. Everybody else, get the comments in. I'll tell you what, Patrick. This race could be a little bit different, though. The big difference being the amount of horsepower. These cars are 100 horse more than the old USF cars. That's going to make a big difference here at Road America.
That will make a big difference. A lot of the corners that were flat out in the USF are not going to be flat out in these. However, these cars have a little bit bigger wings on them, a little bit draggier. So that drag race down the straightaway, where we'll just say there was a drag race down the straightaway. But you might be able to get it done here in these cars just because of the difference that draft is going to make.
Yeah,
it's going to be much more effective is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's going to make a huge difference. Let's take a look here and bring up our point standings here for our double headers on these broadcasts, as these guys are qualifying right now. So we'll do a quick look. This is the U.S. Open Wheel C broadcast series. Entering tonight, Ted Burns picking up 15 big points. Last week, I should say, Everett Paddock, Nikita Lastochkin going to be your top three in points entering this week. Taking a look at the overall standings, all Teddy B. Now 45 points to the good. So Teddy doing some yeoman's work here on this one. First lap's coming in qualifying, and it's going to be Ted Burns to the top of the speed charts. 2 minutes, .042. Nicholas Daly is second quick at a 2 minute, .470. It's almost a half second between Ted Burns and Nicholas Daly at the front of the field.
That is incredible. I mean, you look at the gap from second place, you have to go all the way back to 10th place to find a full second. And then half of that full or I guess a 5/10 of a second is between first and second. It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's crazy the run that Ted is on. Like, he's the epitome of alien. Just what he's able to do night in, night out, just racing at the highest level. Like, it's incredible.
Following along here with Ted Burns as he comes around to complete lap number 2. 5 cars did not get a lap in. Sebastian Weldon, Sean Malloy Esquire, Colin Maroon, Kylo Ciacelli, David Porcelli did not score on lap number 1. Oh, buddy, things are getting tight here at the front. Ted Burns does not improve. Everett Paddock goes to about a 10th back. Sean Malloy to 3rd. Craig Lundy 4th. Now Chris Preston jumps up to position number 3. Let's pick up Kylo Ciacelli as he's working his way around. David Porcelli, second quick, 2 minutes, .130. Now we're getting really tight. It was a half second at the end of lap number 1. Now a half second separating the top 8 in qualifications. Carl Lemkool, he put in a pretty good lap here for lap number 1, 2 minute, .860. Has him up into the 9th position. We'll see what Carl's going to be able to do at the conclusion of lap number 2. Kylo Ciacelli picking up the win in the TNT Shock Series on our airwaves on Tuesday night. Looking to double up on the week in the U.S. Open Wheel Class C machinery. Sebastian Weldon, Colin Maroon will not complete their second laps. They will start from the back of the pack. Kylo through turn number... What was that? That was Canada corner. Now making his way through turn 13. He'll make the quick right-hand turn up turn number 14 and the long drag up the hill. Oh, and I don't think he's going to get the lap in. Time is up. Lap number 2 does not score for Kylo Ciacelli. He will start deep in this field here this evening. That's going to make for some drama early on.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
As everybody starts to get populated out onto the grid, let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's U.S. Open Wheel Class C official race. Ted Burns will be lining up alongside David Porcelli, Everett Praddock, Chris Preston on row number 2. No surprises there. The top 4 in points over the last year or so are right at the head of the field here this evening. Sean Malloy Esquire and Craig Lundy on row number 3. Sean, I'm sorry, but we're just going to keep hammering that because it's kind of comical that iRacing has the Esquire attached to your name. Nicholas Daly, Carl Lemcole on row 4. Nagisayo Shikawa and Brian Labarge on row number 5. Row 6 going to have Frank Wynn and Richard Holt. Row 7, Mike Holler and Stephen C. Thompson, the final cars to get a lap on the books. Kylo Ciacelli and Sebastian Weldon on row number 8. Colin Maroon out of Australia and New Zealand going to be all alone on row number 9. 17 cars in this field in a 51-car entry list. A strength of field of 3973.
You absolutely love to see it.
Oh, I am looking forward for this one. Ted Burns just getting out onto the racetrack now, so in just a second or so, we are going to see the field pull away. 13 laps the distance here, double the distance of the U.S. Open Wheel D-Class race that you're going to see coming up here at the conclusion of this one. And oh my goodness, that race was epic. We can only hope that we get to see something as good here for this one. Taking a look, everybody is out on the grid. So it will be all 17 cars taking the start here this evening.
I tell you, it's going to be absolutely fun watching Kylo try to make his way through the field.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big storyline that we're going to follow along with here in this one. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'll say it that way. How everything progresses, we could see insanity. I mean, this run down to turn 5, you could legitimately be 3 wide making the run down the hill here on lap number 1, because it's going to be important to keep yourself at the front of the field, especially if you're starting rows 3, 4, 5. You've got to make a move to get up towards the front and do that in a hurry.
Yeah, because if you lose the draft, your race is pretty much over, because everyone is so close on pace that you're not going to be able to make up that time unless a lot of people have a lot of mistakes, which is possible, but not very likely.
Just about down to The kink and then the run down the Canada corner. One of my favorite sections of racetrack in the entire world. The blast through the kink is wild.
It's the best in the Nissan GTP car, because you're wicked right as you're going through the kink, you're grabbing fifth gear, so you're mid-shift, the car wants to get unsettled, get a little bit of counter steer, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the real-world Indy cars are doing that kink at close to 200 miles an hour. And then you got to get woed up for Canada corner. If you're brave, you can try to make it through there too wide. Usually the outcome's not all that good, but if you can pull it off, turns 13 and 14 can be taken too wide. We've seen that in this race in the past. In fact, last season, all
you
the
don't
way
need to be
from
brave, just stupid.
that too, it helps. Through turn number 14, now making their way up the hill. The iRacing safety car is going to make the hard right-hand turn. As always, race fans, the start of the U.S. Open Wheel C Championship going to be all yours. So working their way through the kink. Oh, but one way off the racetrack. We've got a couple that are side by side as well. Kylo Ciacelli making the big move. This one's down into Canada corner. Frank Whitten and Gitsu Yoshikawa going to be side by side. Yosh is off into the kitty litter.
Yeah, it's risky to go through Canada corner too wide. Honestly, in my experience, it's risky to go through Canada corner single wide.
It's just a risky corner. It's too close to Canada being the northernmost corner on the circuit.
I've had too many great races at this track ruined by that corner. No, I'm not over it.
Woo! That'll be a 1X.
Oh, man, several cars having issues early on here. Richard Holt and off track, Stephen C. Thompson, Nicholas Daly, Colin Maroon getting off the racetrack. He had to take the tow back into the pits, so we'll take a look, see what happened here to Colin Maroon early on in this one. This is down towards Canada corner. Oh, that 15 machine just overshoots, slides it out, buries it into the tires.
What a Maroon.
I see what you did there.
What's up, Doc?
My goodness. Everett Paddock getting around David Porcelli. That's going to be the fight for the second position. Ted Burns, this lead is unreal early on in this one. 1.9 seconds.
Pulling away from these guys. It's going to be a race for second at this point.
Yeah, he absolutely nailed the start and was pretty much gone from the exit of turn one.
Ted Burns smoother than an old speckled hen tonight, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Delicious. Never had it before 2 minutes ago, and now on like my top 10 list.
Yes. Jason Owens checking in, giving some love to Sebastian Weldon. Yeah, Jason saying Ted is gone. Yeah, there's... Man, it's ugly what Ted Burns is doing to this field here already this evening. Although the gap's holding at about 1.9 seconds, theoretically, this line of cars should be able to catch him if they stay in line and play nice. But even things like serpentining the draft down the straightaways is going to cost you a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's just not worth it to do. I find you lose more time doing it than you do not letting the guy by you.
Well, I tell you what, David Porcelli pulling out a line, he passes Everett Paddock. That's not going to help things either. That one pass cost the train a 10.5.
Yeah, I don't know how interested the second and third are in just riding in the line and catching up at this point. I don't know. I'm just not convinced that even if they did, they would be able to catch. I don't know. We haven't really seen that happen before when we've had scenarios like this.
Picking up on one of... Oh, go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, I think their only hope of catching Ted right now is a highly uncharacteristic mistake.
Yeah. I mean, literally, we talked about it in the opener. Ted Burns is perfect this season. 7 starts, he has led every lap of those 7 starts. I mean, we saw Greg Seitz do some amazing things. And we never saw Greg Seitz start a season perfect. So it's really pretty crazy what's going on here. Picking up one of our other storylines, Kylo Ciacelli, how much could he move? Well, he's up 6 positions, now trying to make it 7, looking inside of Frank Wynn down the front straightaway. Everett Paddock clearing back around David Porcelli that time up the front straightaway as well. Put Kylo Ciacelli up another position. He is up 7 to run in the 8th position. Got some love for Sebastian Weldon in the comments. He is currently running in the 12th position, having a very nice run, up 4 early on in this race as we work lap number 4. How about it? Here comes Craig Lundy. He wants a piece of the action. Porcelli able to hold on. Now Paddock, Lundy, Preston battling. I mean, now obviously seeing some of the comments here that they're running for P2 in the championship. I don't know that it's that ugly yet. Oh, we've got one car sliding way off. That's, that was Kylo Ciacelli, I think, straight lining it there. Sean Malloy having an issue. Mike Holler also having an issue. He's going to be way off the racetrack. Kylo Ciacelli losing 3 spots there. Take a look here, the Hot Shoe Racewear Instant Replay. See what happened to the 12 of Kylo Ciacelli. Oh, buddy. Big wiggle, big lockup. Nice save, Kylo.
Just say, he kept that car, I mean, at least 3 of the tires on the paved stuff the whole time, so that's pretty good.
So, you know how we were talking about how much Canada Corner sucks? The second worst corner on the track is that corner.
I don't know. I love Canada Corner. I can't drive it well, but I can't drive anything well on iRacing, so.
I'm going to have a hot take here. There isn't a good corner on this track, but when you string them all together in the order they are on this track, it's a fantastic track.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I also don't know if I disagree with that.
Like, Canada Corner's fun, the kink is fun, but I can't think of, like, any of the major corners that really wow me or do anything like that, but the way you have to string them all together and set them up and set your runs up for long straightaways, it makes it a really fun track.
Well, you see, I don't know that I agree. Turn 5 is a classic passing opportunity. Long straight, hard on the brakes into a basically 90-degree left-hand corner. That is the purest of passing opportunities, and there's several of them here on this racetrack. Turn 1's the same way.
See, I don't think that's what he means. I think a lot of the corners themselves are just simple. Because, like, look at the layout of this track. How many of the corners on this track are 90 degrees or almost 90 degrees? A lot of it. So the corners themselves, you know, they aren't that spectacular. Because, again, the kink is nearly a 90-degree corner. Canada corner, nearly 90 degrees. But when you put it all together and add in everything else, like the straightaways, the undulations.
James, I'm gonna cut you off right there. Corner 2, yeah, turn 2 and turn 4 at this circuit are my absolute favorites because I just hold the wheel straight.
Yeah, they don't exist. They're just kind of straight. They're slightly kinked bends or something.
See, I forgot about that. How could I forget about the majesty that is Turn 2 at Road America? I'm such a fool.
Yes. Wow, big dive up the inside. Who was that? That was Chris Preston on Craig Lundy. Frank Wynn getting around Sebastian Weldon a little bit deeper in the pack as well. The gap holding 2.07 seconds. Halfway, we'll be halfway next time by. I'm a little bit surprised here that Ted Burns is not able to open up a huge gap with these guys racing as hard as they are in the pack here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a little surprised at that too, but then, I don't know, like I said, the times are pretty close together. So, I'm not entirely surprised that it's stable, considering that pole was only like, what, a tenth or two? And plus, Ted has no real reason to push right now.
Well,
really push.
That's a great point, James. It's, you know, we talk about the Alain Prost methodology of running a race. There really is no reason for Ted to push here. I mean, it's sort of a hot lapping exhibition for him at this point, but not hot lapping in the sense of I want to go faster every lap. He's just got to hit the marks and be consistent. And quite frankly, that's what we've seen out of him. It really is pretty incredible. I mean, looking at some of the other drivers here, Everett Paddock has 3 starts, 1 win. His average start is second. His average finish is second. And he's, 19 points back. But that's not the level of what Ted is doing. And if he keeps that up, this championship could be over by week 8.
Yeah, like, it's maddening how consistent he is. Like, I can't think of many times, with how long we've been covering this series, that he's made a completely unforced error. We've seen Ted crash a lot, but some may say that a lot of those he had help. So the last time he messed up himself, I think, was Phoenix, like 3 or 4 seasons ago off a restart.
Yeah, he's not going to make many mistakes. Oh, man, big bobble there. Not sure who that one was. One car very slow off the pace. Sebastian Weldon having an issue out at turn number 14. He's able to get himself back out onto the racetrack. I think that was Sean Malloy that got himself a little bit squirrely. Yeah, it was. Taking a look at the numbers here, I'm going to do some very quick math.
If you listen closely, folks at home, you can hear the dial tone from Chris doing his math.
Yes.
I don't have a 56K modem with power on. Darn it.
I mean, Ted Burns has done this early season just insanity. And the average I rating is 2183 for those races. There's a couple. There was one at Summit Point that was a 1300, a 1600 at Road America in the first race of the week, a 1700 at Summit Point. He led every lap of an SOF race that was 2649 at Road America. He led every lap of a 2911 at Summit Point and a 3135 at Summit Point. These are not little races that Ted Burns is going nuts on here. He's doing it against the best of the best.
Yeah, like, these aren't stat padding wins. Like, he's dunking on some pretty high level competition.
David Porcelli back around Everett Paddock. Chris Preston, Craig Lundy rounding out the top 5 behind race leader Ted Burns. The gap now up to 2.25 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5 are bunched up close together. 6, 7 are bunched close together, as are 8, 9, and 10. Also 11 and 12, and 14 and 15. So lots of small individual battles going on around the racetrack, but nothing anywhere remotely as close as what we see here at the front of the field, as we are down to 4.2 laps to go or so. That's what timing is scoring tells me. 2 cars out of the race at this point. Colin Maroon going out on lap number 1. Richard Holt going out on lap number 2. Hard charger of the race is Kylo Ciacelli. He is up 6, Sebastian Weldon up 5. Your top 4 are now lined up the way they qualified. But with 4 to go here, it's not going to stay that way for very long.
Yeah, like now.
Oh,
Whoa.
big off the racetrack for Everett Paddock. Paddock's into the tires. His night is over.
Wow.
Very uncharacteristic mistake from Everett Paddock. Take a look at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Just overcooked the corner entry.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Everett Paddock back to the 15th position. Actually having another couple of off tracks as well. That's going to move Kylo Ciacelli up 1 more. Let's pick up Frank Wynn, Sebastian Weldon. They were fairly close. Nicholas Daly going to have to deal with Kylo Ciacelli. Kylo, after screwing the pooch in qualifying, he's already up to position number 8 and within striking distance of 7th. Let's pick up the fights here at the front of the field. Porcelli now holding off Preston and Lundy. Oh, maybe a little bit of an off track there. Good side-by-side battle here between Nicholas Daly and Kylo Ciacelli. Kylo trying to get the move done. He's going to be aggressive here out of turn number 13. Thinks better of the move into 14 because he's going to get the big draft down the straightaway. Oh! But Ciacelli's off and into the wall!
Oh, that is a tough hit. That car seems to be driving pretty straight, but I don't think it's going to go very fast after that.
Well, yeah, James, that's one of those hits we've seen in the past where you kind of pancake the side of the car. You can almost get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think the car is that bad. And 3 laps to go, if he does get a meatball, I think he can finish it out without having to serve it or get disqualified.
Kylo holding on to the 9th position, so he's still up 6. Sebastian Weldon up 5. But man, he's making the move on Frank Wynn under the Sargento Cheese Bridge and down towards turn 5. Jason Owens saying meatballs are delicious. Nice run there for Sebastian Weldon. First time on the NRN airwaves here, and he's starting to close in on Kylo Ciacelli. We'll keep an eye on that one here over the final 3 laps of the race. But the big question is the 2 protagonists from last championship season, David Porcelli and Chris Preston. What can they get accomplished here late in this race? Craig Lundy hanging out back there. He's ready to pounce as well. The lead's still sitting at right about 2 1/4 seconds for Ted Burns over David Porcelli.
Yeah, I think the play for them is just trying to maximize points the best as they can. You know, they got a bit of a 2-1 advantage over Carter. So we'll see if they can do anything to maximize on that. Or not. Oh boy.
Wow, that's gutsy. Oh, so
into the
tight
fan.
for Chris Preston. Man, he gets a little bit wide too. Seeing the comments from Just Kazura, let's go Frank Wynn and Seb Weldon, looking to see some more fighting for that top 10. Let's take a look back here. Kylo Ciacelli, Sebastian Weldon, Frank Wynn, all kind of separated out from each other. Seb closing in a little bit, the gap right about 2 seconds. There you just saw race leader Ted Burns disappearing into the distance once again on the run down to Canada corner. It's going to be the white flag next time by the start-finish line. Can Ted Burns hold on for one more lap? He's done it every other lap this season, so I don't see any reason why not. White flag, 1 lap to go here at Road America on doubleheader night. Preston, big dive up the inside on Lundy. Gonna try it again at turn 3. Nice move, Chris Preston. He's gonna get that one done. Now he's going hunting for David Porcelli. Big run down to turn 5. Here comes Lundy looking back. It's going to be to the outside of the racetrack. Preston tries to squeeze a little bit. Big dive into 5. He's going to make up a little ground.
Oh, crossover.
Lundy with the crossover under the Corvette bridge to 6. Man, that was tight. For some of the netcode issues we've seen with this car over the last few weeks, that's dicey how tight some of this is.
This is incredible. It is not easy to go side by side through there.
Well, Only a few more shots left to get that pass done. He's going to look here. Outside in Canada corner's a weird take, but it'll set you up for 13, I guess.
Oh! Preston tried to squeeze him.
Oh, he's off.
Oh, it's going to work.
Lundy's going to have the shot. Now he's going to try to cross him over again. Preston goes for the big dive into 14. It's going to be a drag race up the hill. Checkered flag is in the air. Ted Burns claims the flag to flag win at Road America. Drag race for third. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's Lundy by a nose. Craig Lundy picks up third. We completely ignore David Porcelli with a very nice run to second. But Craig Lundy wins the drag race. Kylo Ciacelli, Sebastian Weldon tie for the hard charger. But let's pick up Ted Burns, your race winner. That was a fantastic showing out of Teddy B once again. A beatdown is what that was. Good Lord. So as Ted Burns making his way around the racetrack, let's take a look at your race results. Burns the winner by 3 seconds over Porcelli, Lundy, Preston, and Malloy back to the 5th position. 6 through 10, Carl Lemkuhl, Nicholas Daly, Nagisa Yoshikawa, Kylo Ciacelli, and Sebastian Weldon. Frank Wynn, Brian Labarge, Mike Collar, Stephen Thompson, and Everett Paddock to 15th. Richard Holt, Colin Maroon. Rounding out the field here this evening, Paddock, Holt, and Maroon all crashing out at various points during the night. Quite frankly, not surprised that Kylo Ciacelli didn't crash out either. He hit that wall pretty darn hard, but as always, a fantastic show. I'm going to agree with Jason Owens out here in the comments. Hot damn, these cars put on some of the best racing on the service. Yes, they do.
It's just all the USAC cars. I think we were having this discussion earlier today in the server where we have IP2K, the USF 2000, Silver Crown, and Sprint car. And those are the 4 best cars in the service.
Yeah, it's... they're
USAC,
just
baby.
good. They're fun, yes. The United States Auto Club representing on iRacing.
And if only they could figure out how to run a series in the real world, it would be fantastic.
Oh my goodness. USAC, please direct the hate mail to patrick.burn. All right, let's bring in, actually, it's Carter Lundy, based on the name I'm seeing in the Discord server here. But Carter Lundy, our 3rd place finisher here this evening. Man, I'll tell you what, bud, that was a really nice run. You had a great view with some of the battles up towards the front of the field. Talk us through how the night went for from your perspective.
Well, I don't want to say anything about the first race, not to spoil anything, but yeah, the race we did just now, it was a lot of fun as usual. These cars are just so much fun to drive. You can follow really closely, and they're great to race. There's actually a couple difficult corners to follow at Road America. The kink and one of the fast right-handers. So you kind of have to lift off a bit, and it kind of wrecks your run. But if you have a good toe, then basically you can make anything happen. And yeah, everybody was battling all race, and I just took advantage when I could and got the podium.
Yeah, it seemed like it was kind of one of those nights where everybody was battling hard in the group that you guys were in, and really a mistake was going to end your night. We saw that happen to Everett. How much does that enter your mind while you're in the midst of those battles?
Well, I think for me personally, I'm on the iRating grind, so I don't want to lose any. I'm being a little bit cautious, but yeah, I fully trust everybody in the league and in the race. So you can race everybody here a little bit harder than just your normal race.
Well, I tell you what, man, fantastic drive tonight. It's great to get to talk to you here on the broadcast. First time on the podium with us here, and looking forward to a lot more of these conversations. Before we let you go, get any of the sponsor plugs and thank yous in that you'd like to get handled.
I don't know. I don't know what to say here. Yeah, I have not much to say.
All right, hey, you know what? Sometimes
Thanks to the league. Thanks for Ted for mentioning it last week because I wouldn't have found out about it if he didn't mention it. So thanks to Ted.
yeah, that's the community here is a pretty darn good one, and quite frankly, we're pretty excited to have you along here with us. So, Carter, congratulations. We'll get the name updated in the graphics for next week, and thank you very much for hanging out with us here in the booth for a minute or so. And now, time to talk to our runner-up finisher. I will say best in class number 2 tonight because nobody was getting anywhere close to Ted Burns. That's David Porcelli, defending champion of the series. I'll tell you what, man, the car was good, and you had some epic battles there at the front with Everett.
Yeah, it was a good race. Teddy set some really strong opening laps, and there's one moment where I thought I was going to be able to catch him. I got within the 2 second window, and Everett got by me on turn 5. I wasn't expecting him to make a move there. I feel like if I hadn't let him by there might be just a shot at it if I'd hit all my marks heading into the end of the race. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be back. Glad to take the podium, and shout out to Ted for some killer pace in the opening laps.
Yeah, the stuff he's doing this season is really pretty insane. Does it change your approach at all? I mean, you're kind of on that level. There's Ted, you, Chris. I mean, even guys like Carl and Nick Daly. Nagisa's really quick. Kylo's quick. That's the kind of elite of this U.S. Open Wheel C-Class series. Do you have to change your approach when somebody just goes absolutely nuts at the start of a season?
Well, it looks like I'm going to need to get a few more laps in at the beginning of the week if I'm going to want to be challenging Ted. But I think that we're each going to have our weeks. We're each going to have our tracks where we put it together. He had a killer qualifying lap, and so he got that, reaction at the start, and I think that was literally the difference this week. So, yeah, it's going to be really important to string it together this season. But I'm looking forward to the battle. I think we're each going to have our own weeks.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much for checking in with us here. We appreciate you hanging out. And before we let you go, do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Racecraft One Indianapolis as always. Hi to the family. Thanks to National Racing Network for a killer broadcast every week. And hope to see you guys in the booth next week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. And man, now we got to talk to this guy again. Date night continues here with Mr. Ted Burns. But this one a little bit different than the last conversation we had because it is what you're doing to this series right now is incredible. Looking at the numbers, let's see. Has not updated for this race yet, but I can try to spitball the math. 140-ish, 141 laps completed, 141 laps led, 8 starts, 8 wins. Are you human or what's going on here?
But I appreciate it, guys. This has just been a dream start to the season. But I mean, Road America is my home track. It's my best track on here. Summit Point's my second best track. So it's just been a kind of a barrage of best of the best to start the season here. I really wish I could keep this up the rest of the season, but I mean, I think it's going to be a bit tougher next week because these are my 2 best tracks. So I had to maximize it while I could to try and get as many points as possible towards the championship because I know it's going to be a long, hard fight.
Yeah, it's almost one of those where you have to mentally put yourself in that position of I'm going to fail at some point, and you just kind of have to anticipate it because nobody's going to lead every lap of every race in a season. How do you put yourself in that position of saying, "Hey, I know something's going to happen. It's just a matter of when," and not letting that drag you down at all?
I mean, I just keep looking at the big picture and trying to make sure I can preserve a good finish. You know, sometimes I may not have the car positioning, or I may not have the pace over someone. So, you know, I know my time's going to come. So, just got to take advantage of the opportunities when I can, and just focus on my driving and try and hit every single one of my marks. And it's just been a little bit easier at these two tracks, being so familiar with them. But it's definitely not easy to go out there and be perfect like that. So. Yeah, still in a bit of shock to have that kind of start to a season.
Well, the big, fast, high-speed road courses seem to suit you well. Next week, we head off to Olton Park, which is going to be, quite frankly, a lot of the same. 17 corners, but it's, 80% of the lap you're at full throttle. Got to make you feel at least a little bit good there going, man, this has the potential to be another week of really good stuff. And then you head off to Road Atlanta, which is another high-speed road course.
Yeah, Downforce Racing, we worked really hard on our high-speed setups, for these kind of tracks. So it's really paying dividends, and it's just making it that little bit easier, knowing that we have that straight line pace advantage over the competition. So it'll be interesting next week. I know there's a lot of corners in there, so I don't know if we'll be able to run totally trimmed out, but. Yeah, it should be another good week. I haven't really raced there much, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
All right, Teddy. Well, congratulations once again on a dominating performance here at Road America. Thank you much. We appreciate you hanging out with us in the booth. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Of course, got to thank Downforce Racing for the rocket ship of a setup. Awesome teammates helping out all week, not only with the setup, but with the racecraft and making sure we could get out there out front. Thanks to everyone for coming out and running the series. It's been a blast having this many people out here, and thanks you guys for putting on such a great broadcast and hopefully attracting more racers in the next couple of weeks.
We're already seeing some of those new guys joining in. And Teddy, thank you much. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. And man, as we go back to the live look here and getting ready to wrap things up on the U.S. Open Wheel Class C races for the night, Patrick, we'll come to you first. We are seeing some of these new names. It's interesting. Sean Malloy is a name we haven't seen before. He really put on a heck of a show tonight. Sebastian Weldon. Great run for that young man, up to the 10th position. He ties for the Hard Charger Award. And then uncharacteristic mistakes out of guys like Everett Paddock and Richard Holt. It just shows you how difficult this season's going to be.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be shaking up the roster a little bit, especially with some of these guys maybe getting out of some of the other open wheel cars, getting into the Indy Pro 2000. We're not only seeing top-level Indy Pro 2000 talent here, we're seeing top-level Formula Renault, top-level IndyCar. I'm sure some of the F1 guys are hopping over with how big this is getting, so I think we're going to have a fun season here.
Yeah, James, that speaking to that point a little bit, when you hear guys talking about grinding out the I rating, and you want to, when you have a business that you're building here, your sponsors want the exposure. You can't get that anymore out of the IndyCar series. So anything with IndyCar attached to the name on it, you can't broadcast it after the first of the year. This really is going to be big. If you're looking for the open wheel market in the United States, you need to be in this open wheel C class and D class.
We've been saying this for years now, that this car is just underrated fun. It's so great. It's a different type of driving with this car. It's much more rewarding. You're encouraged to drive it on the edge. You feel the rear kick out. You feel the loss of grip. You can't really rely on downforce like you can a lot of the other cars. So that's what makes these cars special, is because it takes a lot more input and driver skill to really be fast in this. So the more top-level people we get to adopt this car, the better, because this car just deserves the mainstream appeal.
Yeah, we're looking forward to what the rest of this season is going to hold. Still got more racing coming up here, too. The U.S. Open Wheel D-Class race. That ran in the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to be bringing that to you right now after a short commercial break. For Patrick Byrne, James Watson, everybody here making these C-Class races possible, my name's Chris Graham. Don't go anywhere. We are going to have the U.S. Open Wheel D-Class race coming up here in just a minute. Thanks for watching, everybody. Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey, dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship are going to be taking on Road America. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to this one in a very big way. Joined in the booth tonight by Mr. Patrick Byrne. Maybe you're going to have James Watson, Jason Owens popping in for a bit with us here as well. Welcome back, everybody. As you know, this race runs at 9 o'clock. We're going to be showing this one at, right after the 10 p.m. Indy Pro 2000 race. But Class D is what is on the racetrack right now. And Bizzle, how about it? The numbers are outstanding. 60 cars registered, a strength of field of 4,059 for this one. Holy crap, this is going to be insane.
I've seen Silver Crown top splits with less strength of field than this. This is incredible. And it makes sense. The USF 2000 is a popular car. Road America's a popular track that just about everyone has. And these little things are kind of slow around here. So just about every corner is flat out, high speed, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Before we get too far into this one, let's take a look at the championship standings for the U.S. Open Wheel D Broadcast Series. Top 10 earn points in the sliding scale that you see down there because we've only completed one round. Everybody else is going to start earning points here this week, but Ted Burns picking up the doubleheader win last week, sweeping the weekend. 15 points overall for the D-Class Series, and well, he's did the same thing in the A-Class, so Ted Burns is going to be your points leader with 30 points in the overall broadcast championship as well. Let's get the tower up here on the screen for you so we can, we'll show you who's who and who's where. Let's Gotta get the graphics updated here. No longer the old series here. This one is the brand new.
Yes, we are not allowed to say that four-letter word starting with an I and ending with a Y.
Sort of. There is some of that going on. And we'll talk about that. Yes, depending on context, and we'll talk about that over the course of the night here. iRacing basically dropping the bomb yesterday that due to the license agreement with IndyCar expiring on December 31st, anything that looks like IndyCar cannot be broadcast on the iRacing platform. There will also no longer be an official NTT IndyCar series on iRacing. There's a lot to unpack in this thing here, Patrick, but the start of things is there's going to be no more what amounts to A-class American open wheel broadcasts. You can't do it. It's a terms of service violation. You will lose the iRacing broadcast accounts. What that means is the best you're going to do is right here, what we're doing tonight. C-Class and D-Class are now the top two tiers of American open wheel racing that we can broadcast on the iRacing platform.
Not only that, these cars are also just fantastic. I mean, they're not 700 horsepower Indy cars, but the power to weight is still very, very similar, and they're a lot more nimble, and you can race these a lot closer together.
Taking a look here at David Porcelli, the defending champion of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Lap number one on the board. Quick time's going to go to Craig Lundy, 209.47. They were almost in the 208s in practice. Chris Preston going to be second quick overall, followed by David Porcelli, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Indy Cassie. Oh, buddy, Teddy B. Ted Burns back to the top of the charts. 209.468, 1/100th of a second faster. What's really crazy about this is with how tight everybody is here after one lap of qualifying, that means they're going to be packed up and in the draft this entire race.
Yeah, even Carl Lemkool isn't that much further off than everyone, and that could even just be a misstep in one corner during qualifying. So he's usually up there in the front with everyone else, so I'm not too worried. It's going to look like Talladega with left and right turns, like that old Papyrus Speedway. Back in NR 2003.
That is exactly right. 17 cars on this entry list. 60 is the total across 4 splits. Absolute insanity. We're now 2 weeks into this experiment, and SOF night are monsters. It is really going to be fun to watch how the rest of this season shakes out. 2 cars have not turned a lap time yet, those being Mac Clark and Taylor Lane. Everybody back to 15th place. Carl Lemkool has gotten at least 1 lap in the books. Nobody has turned lap number 2. Aiden Ingrata, I guess. 6th position. He is done, as is 10th place Richard Holt. Craig Lundy, well, he's done with his laps as well. So Lundy will do no better than second as we're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining here in qualifications at Road America. Following along with David Porcelli. He will come around to complete lap number 2. Where does Porcelli go? 1 position better, up to 4th, 209.81. 209.81 with a 5 for David Porcelli. Let's pick up Ted Burns, the man who is on provisional pole as he works lap number 2. He'll come screaming up the hill. Big lap from Nicholas Daly. Sean Malloy Esquire. That's what his name says. We're going to call him that. Sean Malloy Esquire up to 3rd quick. Matt Clark is 4th. Ted Burns does not improve. In fact, well off the pace on lap number 2. Let's see. There's Nicholas Daly, but how about it? Coming off the corner, car number 6, that is Sean Malloy Esquire. We are going to run with that one all night long here tonight. Looks like everybody is about done qualifications as we're down to 20 seconds left. 5 cars left on the racetrack, but all have completed their allotted 2 laps. So it is already time to get ready for the grid and time to go racing here at Road America. And we are looking forward to this one. 7 laps will be the distance here tonight for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. I'm sorry, not Indy Pro. U.S. Open Wheel D. And it's not even Indy Pro, so I'm screwing the pooch big time on that one. But
Formerly known as the USF 2000.
yes, that is correct. The artist formerly known as USF 2000. Let's take a look here and get ready for racing. As everybody starts to populate out onto the starting grid, let's take a look at who is going to be lining up where for this one. Ted Burns lining up alongside Craig Lundy by 6/1000ths of a second. That's insane after 4 miles of running here at Road America. Sean Malloy Esquire lining up alongside Nicholas Daly. Matt Clark, Chris Preston on road number 3. Row 4 going to have David Porcelli and Aiden Luis Ingrata out of Canada. Handful of Canadians. In fact, a very diverse international field here in this one. Nagisa Yoshikawa, Indy Cassie on row 5. Row 6 will see Downforce Racing's Carl Lemkool lining up alongside Shot Guy Racing Performances Cody Hunley. Sliding back to page number 2 of the grid, row number 7. Richard Holt out of the UK and Ireland, and Mike Ekemir out of New England. Kylo Ciacelli, Limo Boys Racing, lining up alongside Taylor Lane out of Fiercely Forward Racing. And Frank Wynn barely making it into top split here tonight, 1.8 seconds back. He is car number 11. When's the last time we talked about a guy like Frank Wynn being towards the back end? Kylo Ciacelli is 13. He's the 13th highest I-rated driver in this server tonight. This is abject insanity is what we're seeing in this one. A lot of great names just not in the broadcast race.
The big guns all came out tonight. They stepped down from their IndyCar platter and said, well, we can't race these on TV anymore, so let's go and show these boys in USF 2000 how it's done. This is going to be one hell of a race.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We'll just use fun as the word. Road America turn number 1 is tricky. There can be absolute carnage into turn number 1 if you're not careful. Big blast down the hill towards turn number 2. Sweeping right-hander. Well, I guess turn 2 is the middle. This is turn 3. Turn 2 is basically right under the bridge.
I have an image saved on my desktop of the track map with turn 2 in quotation marks circled. And it just says, where is the turn? It's a straightaway. It's not a turn. I will die on that hill.
Yes. We'll use Pocono Raceway's line. What turn 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Through turn 4 underneath the Sargento Cheese Bridge, and one of my favorite passing opportunities on the racetrack. This corner, next corner, rewards bravery. It rewards a little bit of stupidity. And whoever's got the biggest set that they want to flop out onto the table. You turn down the hill towards turn 5, and it can be ugly. But good Lord, are the dive bombs beautiful. Big time crossovers on corner exit. Cars running out onto the paved runoff area just out to the side. Then you come up the hill under the Corvette Bridge to turn number 6. That is a quick-ish left-hander down to the big right-hander at turn number 7. A corner that I want to say it's almost, these cars might be a full throttle corner. Big blast again down to turn number 8. These USF 2000 cars are going to be ridiculously quick. I mean, 80+% of the lap will be at full throttle. Underneath the Johnsonville Bridge, the Bratwurst Bridge, Patrick's favorite place on planet Earth, and into the carousel. Good luck. You can.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, it's going to be very interesting in these cars. I have not found a car in the service that is flat out through here, but these might be the closest to it.
Closest to it, and you can run it too wide if you're really gutsy enough and want to try it. Then we head down to the kink. Oh my goodness. One of the highest speed corners you'll encounter. This is where Catherine Legg had her absolutely massive crash. In fact, this camera angle of just the cockpit bouncing down the racetrack was terrifying. Out of this run, another long blast, another corner that's going to reward bravery, stupidity, a little bit of both. That's Canada Corner at turn 12, the northernmost part of this racetrack in, well, quite frankly, one of the northernmost parts of the continental United States. Elkhart Lake is up there. Beautiful shots out of Canada Corner. Then just a couple of more. Short run down to turn 13 to the left. You can try to go too wide there if you want to be brave about it. The big key here, do not screw up turn number 14 because it is a long way up the hill. You'll see the pace car make the hard right-hand turn, and you've still got almost a half mile before you get to the start zone. Field is going to work their way up the hill under the control of Ted Burns and Craig Lundy. As always, race fans, the start of this one going to be all yours. Looks like everybody cleanly through turn number 1. Matt Clark, Chris Preston doing battle. Oh my goodness, this is going to be back for the 5th, 6th, 7th position. Call it Clark, Preston, Ingrata. First time out under the bridge. 3 wide, a little bit deeper in the pack behind them. Nagisa Yoshikawa in the middle of the 3 wide run down to turn number 5. Oh, one car going way straight off. That's going to be the 12 machine of Aiden Ingrata. He's able to get back out onto the racetrack. Oh, man, almost a little bit of contact with Cody Hundley. Oh, one car going straight off. That's going to be Carl Lemkool. Lemkool inside the top 10 in points. He is able to get back on the racetrack, but he's going to lose a bunch of time.
He is going to have to hope for attrition from the front, and that's about all he can hope for. These are very short races, only 7 circuits around this track.
Yeah, 7 circuits that feel like they go on forever. I mean, this place is long. We've seen cars, especially the end of the NASCAR Xfinity Series in the real world, that could not make it around at the white flag because they were running out of fuel left and right. And you got to get up the hill. Once you get out of turn 14 here, there's a whole lot that's going to go on in this race here, even in the 6 laps we have left to go.
I can't believe the race just started. We're already saying 6 to go. It is incredible how short these races are.
These races are going to be short, and they're going to fit within the time window. Hey, we got a James Watson in the booth with us here as well. What's going on there, Watson?
Oh, nothing much. Just finished off my league racing duties, and I'm here just in time to miss, half the race?
No, you missed a lap of this race.
Wow.
Yeah.
You only missed 1/8 of it.
Well,
Yes. That statement is factually accurate.
but I missed 100 corners by Road America standards.
Yes, but only 4 in actuality. Let's see, I'm going to pull up Racing Circuits info and actually count the corners the way they should be counted. I'll let you know how many there are on the circuit.
I'm going to say 11 or 12. I think it's 12.
15?
Well, no, because things like Kettle Bottoms doesn't count. That's not a turn. That's 11A. Turn 2 is not a turn.
Well, no, kettle bottoms, no, because you're not really cranking the wheel at all there. You're maybe putting 10 degrees offset in the wheel.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. Are we going by what the track map itself lists as corners, or
No.
what we ourselves list?
Yeah, no, what we consider to be a corner.
Oh, then there's only like 5.
11, because they count the carousel as 2 turns. This isn't an oval. You can't count one corner as 2 turns. Sorry.
Oh, the math checks out. Following the battle at the lead, Ted Burns, Craig Lundy. Still, they're within about a quarter second of each other. We slide back a little bit here. You get Matt Clark and Chris Preston. They are running in the 4th and 5th position. Top 8 are all going to be nose to tail. Then it's 2 seconds back to Nagisa Yoshikawa in the 9th position. Drag race for the lead down to turn number 1. Here comes Lundy up the inside. Is he going to get there before the corner? Side by side through 1. Man, big move by Sean Malloy Esquire to get himself up to 3rd ahead of Chris Preston. And putting up fastest lap of the race at a 208.981. 208. Abject insanity. Lundy covers the inside lane down to turn number 5. Man, that's really going to bottle up the front of the field. These guys are going to be tight with about, we'll call it 4.5 laps to go here at Road America. In what will be the final race on our airwaves before the Christmas holiday.
Hopefully I'll be back on the airwaves after my Christmas holiday. Either that or I'll be in an Irish prison begging you guys for bail money.
Yeah, the likelihood of that is high.
Yeah, let's be real. We all know where this is ending up.
Great shot out of Canada corner. Absolutely love that one. Nice work by Connor Baldwin, by the way, doing the camera design on this one. Got to give him the shout-outs as well. So Ted Burns back to the lead over Craig Lundy. Sean Malloy runs 3rd. Chris Preston 4th. Trouble on the racetrack for Frank Wynn. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Frank. Well, hold on. We can't look away from this. The battle at the front is just too good. Ted Burns holding on. Sean Malloy Esquire inside of Craig Lundy into turn 1. He'll get the pass completed. Now Lundy going to have to try to fight off Chris Preston, who's down inside into 3. Preston makes it a 2-for-1 there out of turn number 3. Puts him up to the 3rd position. David Porcelli running in 5th. Not often that we see Porcelli running and we just don't talk about the guy. He absolutely dominated last season as they are swerving all over the place down to turn 5. Whoa. Preston way outside, keep it out of the kitty litter. He does. Oh, big airtime for Chris Preston. Oh, that was awesome.
Way to use your wings there, Chris.
Yeah, I'll get back on the ground, please. Good Lord, that was insane. Take a look at the instant replay on this one. There's Chris Preston going airborne out of turn 5. Good Lord.
And these things are fairly rugged. You can get them airborne a time or two and still finish the race just fine.
That's not a good idea. It's just not a smart thing to do, though.
Nonsense.
I've launched one of these out of the park multiple times at iRacing Super Speedway, and every time the reset button worked all the same.
Don't ask us why we were shooting USF 2000s out of ISS. It's best if you don't know.
Oh, it's funny.
That's awesome. Nicholas Daly, Matt Clark battling towards the back here a little bit. Going to be interesting to see what Craig Lundy is going to be able to do here out of the third position. He's going to get the big toe, as is David Porcelli. Crossed flags halfway home, 4 complete, 3 to go. Lundy having the look inside. Here comes Malloy. He wants a piece too. Everybody's got to tuck back in line. What really makes this place fun, James, is the fact that where you would ordinarily maybe give up a tenth or two, you just tuck right back in the draft and everybody's tight on each other again before you get to, like, if you do that at turn 1, you're tight to each other before you get to turn 3.
Yeah, I just love watching a whole train of cars just wheeling it around this place. This is probably going to be more of a train than we see in the PM18 that we saw in the PM18 SOF.
Wow, how about that? Side by side through 5. Everybody's able to get through cleanly. What the heck? We'll go side by side through 6 too. Let's see if we can try it through 7. Make it 3 corners in a row. And they decide to play nice. Top 4 get back in line. The more they battle, the more they're going to catch this second group of cars back up. Matt Clark in 5th was just a second and a half back. Now he's down to about 8 tenths as they head under the Johnsonville-Bratwurst Bridge. Oh, man, Malloy thought about the move. Here comes Lundy looking inside into Canada corner. Oh, what a gutsy move by Teddy B to hold on to it. Wow, Lundy able to tuck right back in at turn 13 as well. Sometimes you get a little bit hung out there when you try it at Canada corner, and you end up freight train going into 13. But once again, we talked about it, the top 4, they got to racing. Now it's going to be an 8-car battle for the race win with 2 to go.
It looks, yeah, I was about to say draft train. It looks like Talladega going down this front straightaway.
Lundy inside into 1. Can he make it stick? I think he will.
I think I heard Tony Kanaan describe turn 1 here best. It rewards the driver with the biggest balls. Lundy going for it, and I'd say I'd give that award to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a place where AJ Foyt was buried up to his knees when his brakes failed going to turn number 1. An accident that they considered amputating the legs at the crash scene until Terry Trammell and Steve Olvey, the 2 IndyCar doctors, got out there. They dug him out. And immediately, they landed the helicopter at turn 1 to fly him to the hospital. That's how bad AJ was. Got him all patched up. About a year later, he was back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 1992 Indy 500. Just insane what Super Tex has lived through. But this place is bad fast, especially at the end of that long front straightaway.
I still need to have AJ sign my bathroom art decorations.
That's a sentence.
Yes. Well, yes, Patrick picked up a piece of artwork from the AJ Foyt Racing Shop. I don't know that we're allowed to say what the sign actually says, but it is spectacular.
It says, please don't drink Coca-Cola in the restroom.
Or something along those lines.
It's more allowed than the word Indy will be in about
Yes, I did not buy it in Indy. I bought it in a certain town west of the city of Indianapolis.
Yes, in the town of Speedway, Indiana is where you picked that up.
You bought it at the Speedway, Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana.
Up the road from the Mug and Bun, next door to Charlie Brown's.
Yes. Well, yeah, we can
Good
say
grief.
the AJ Foyt Shop. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Ted Burns leading now. David Porcelli, who's inside of Craig Lundy. Matt Clark going to be there as well. Clark going to try to stuff that up the inside of Lundy. Oh, they're almost making contact out of 1. We haven't talked about David Porcelli almost this entire race, defending champion of the Indy Pro 2000 series. I guess the last champion of the Indy Pro 2000. Now that it's U.S. Open Wheel C, these cars, the former USF 2000s. Oh my goodness. Sean Malloy, big wiggle into 5. He's going to lose a couple of spots.
Were they? I think they were 3 wide for a moment. Good God.
We'll take this out of U.S. Open Wheel C coming up here in a moment as well. But you guys, the viewers, already know who wins that race. They don't know who won this race. This is so hard to do. We have to figure out a way. I just don't want a content fill for an hour. Maybe a Pizza at the Pagoda live show in between the two or something.
God help us all.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea. Terribly brilliant. Porcelli going to have the big run into Canada corner. Here comes the dive bomb. Cue the air raid sirens. Porcelli backs out. Ted Burns able to hold on.
It's going to be a drag race down the straightaway.
Yeah, it is. He's going to have a shot here coming out of turn number 14. When do you use the draft?
Backing up the corner, he looks like he took a wider line. He's going to have a run coming up, and he's in the draft. When does he pull out and make the move?
At the line, twin checkers in the air. Indy U.S. Open Wheel C drag race, Teddy Burns. Wow, what a finish. Ted Burns over David Porcelli by not much. Call it half a car length at the line. Oh my goodness, what a race. Ted Burns, David Porcelli, and Craig Lundy will be your podium here in U.S. Open Wheel D Series action. From Road America. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Great race. While they are coming around to... Well, let's see. Let's pick up the right camera here and we'll get your... Take a look. There he is. Ted Burns, your race winner here at Road America. SOF night, Teddy B is now 3 for 3, taking both races last week to kick off the season. The 9 o'clock hour U.S. Open Wheel D goes to Ted Burns as well. Another 15 points towards the Broadcast Series Championship. While he comes around and some of these other drivers get ready to hop in for the interviews, let's take a look at your race results. 32 thousandths of a second separating Ted Burns and David Porcelli at the line. Craig Lundy coming home third. Matt Clark, Chris Preston round out the top 5. Sean Malloy, Esquire, Nicholas Daly, Indy Cassie, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Richard Holt completing the top 10. Mike Ekmir, Kylo Ciacelli, Carl Lemkool, Frank Wynn, Cody Hunley, and Taylor Lane back to the 16th position. Aiden Luis Ingrata, the only car to finish one lap down, one or more laps down, finishing 7 laps down in the 17th position. Race that took 21 minutes to complete. That's kind of ridiculous. A 4,059 strength of field. Good Lord.
Mother of mercy.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not seeing any of our drivers here in the booth area just yet. So we'll take a look and see who we might be able to come up with. But first and foremost, though, let's do some talking here as well before we get ready to head off the air. I'll tell you what, boys, this was, Patrick, we'll come to you first. That was fun, man. Everything we expected to get out of the D-Class cars, the old USF 2000 machines here at Road America.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a race like that in USF 2000. Now, obviously, we've never had a USF 2000 broadcast before, but other than last week, it makes me want to get back in this car and start running it. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, it was. This one was good. I have to say, this was a lot of fun to watch. James, as always, we're seeing great racing here on U.S. Open Wheel SOF night. And quite frankly, what we're going to start calling the strongest broadcast night of American open wheel racing on iRacing. This is going to be a big deal with the licensing stuff that has come up this week, and then the fact that we can only talk about IndyCar for another couple of weeks or so. This is a big deal for these cars that we were concerned initially about participation. The numbers are starting to bear out how good it is, and then you're going to start seeing some of these leagues and drivers having to run the USF and the Indy Pro cars, because if they want to be on the air, that's what they got to run.
Yeah, like, as sad as this is, and as frustrating as this is, for what the series is concerned about, this might end up being a good thing for all of us, because we know how great these cars are and how great the racing is. So to have everyone else have an opportunity to see, wow, this car is amazing. All the best for us. Again, wish it happened in a better scenario.
Yeah, I would say there's a whole lot that's going to be happening here over the next couple of weeks, and we'll bring it all to you, that's for sure. But first, we got to bring to you our race winner. This is turning into date night here with Ted Burns. Every Thursday night, we are talking to him in Victory Lane. Congratulations, Ted. Man, this one was not nearly as easy as what we saw last week. Just insanity at the front of the field here tonight.
Oh yeah, it was wild. You could not give an inch. There were so many of us in the line there. I couldn't even count looking in the mirror how many cars there were. And I know I was in comms with Sean, and I know he made one mistake, and all of a sudden he was just like off the relative. He's like lost 4 spots just from bad car placement in the line. So yeah, it was ruthless up there. So super stoked to be able to get out there and get that win. That was awesome, and it was such tight racing.
Yeah, that one was big, and man, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to watch over the course of the season here, because we're starting to see 4,000 SOF races, 60 cars on the entry list. I don't know that we could have asked for more in how the series were put together by the iRacing management team here for this season.
Oh, for sure. It's been awesome. Like that's just unheard of. A 4,000 strength of field in Indy or USF, whatever it's called now. It's I mean I think that's probably the highest strength of field this series has seen ever in iRacing history. So it's just awesome, and to be paired up with the Indy Pro and for you guys to be doing the broadcast for both, it's just awesome, and I'm amazed to see the participation so far, and I really hope it stays up for the rest of the season, because this racing is awesome.
Yeah, this is fun, and we appreciate you checking in with us here. Go get ready for the artist formerly known as Indy Pro 2000. I don't even know that we're allowed to say that anymore. I guess maybe not as of January 1st. We'll find that out. But congratulations on the win here, brother. Before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
For sure. First, got to thank Downforce Racing. Awesome teamwork all week, getting us up there at the front, and just practicing racecraft. It's been really paying off. Thanks you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast each week. I look forward to going and watching it back, and hopefully see you guys in a little bit here.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you checking in with us, and looks like we don't have anybody else that's going to be popping in here for the interviews. So with that, we are going to wrap up the 2023 Season 1 Week 2 edition of U.S. Open Wheel D. Good Lord, that is a mouthful. Coming to you from Road America. This has been fun. I have to say big thank yous here. We do have one more week coming up here, so we won't do the year-end thank yous. We'll save that for next week. But big thank you to James Watson, Patrick Byrne. There's a lot of people that make these shows happen. Connor Baldwin doing fantastic work on the camera design for us here. I am truly blessed and thankful to have some really incredible people that want to hang out and work these shows with us. But with that, it is time for us to get the heck on out of here. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. We will freaking see you later. Merry Christmas, everybody.